questions on how we put everything together for our Christmas light show. And as I was trying to figure out how to do things and get things up and running for my first year, watched a few videos on some people's behind the scenes and how they put their yards together, and so figured I would show a little bit on what I did for this year and some of those things that made my show a little bit different than others, since everybody's yard is gonna be a little bit different, and go from there. So to start off, this is the brains of the show. In here I have 6 of the 10 ports that we are currently using. The data comes out of each of these and then runs into a differential controller, or a differential receiver throughout the yard, which I'll show you in just a couple minutes. But in here we have a Culp 40 that is running powered on here, Culp 40 with a beagle bone, and then up here have a sound blaster that is running the audio out, splitting the feed into the FM transmitter and then a push button. So the Culp 40 has the 10 different ports that is running off of it. So again, like I said, running 6 of the 10 this year. We'll see if maybe future years got more. Just for my simplicity's sake, I colored each of the cords here, so that as I'm running them throughout the yard, I remember which box goes to which box, which I'll show you in just a second. So Culp 40 is the main brains of the system. We have our Ethernet, which is running into it, and going from there. All my very beautiful wiring here. I know a lot of people use wireless things, but I still haven't ever quite been sold on wireless, just because I don't have a ton of luck with wireless things always going out, so I like to keep things hardwired. So have the wires running on the top of the garage here, going out to the yard. Then there's the audio cable over here, FM transmitter, which is just sitting up here on the shelf. Just to have that running, and this guy has been very useful. Nice, clear sound. Haven't had any issues with him. And then to power up the show, we have these Casa smart plugs, which are programmed to turn on and off each day. I do power everything down every night with the exception of the main controller. Just, and I guess for safety's sake, I know some people have had issues over the years with things shorting out or going off, but have those Casa plugs, which have been great, and can turn those on and off from my phone. What's nice is in case the controller needs to be rebooted or something, I can just power it off from that smart plug, give it a minute or two, and then power back up. So the Cat 5 cables are running out here over to all of our smart differential receivers. So like I said, I have 6 of these spread throughout the yard. But on here, we have 4 ports that are coming out of each. That's the 4 ports on the left there. And then these 8 over here, those are all power injection. So I'm running my show completely off of 5 volts, which do require some extra power injection. Usually get about 100 to 150 lights before I have to add some extra power into them. Then what I do to keep track of everything is I have put some electrical tape on the end of my different connectors so that I know where this line is supposed to be running. So to keep track of where it is supposed to be going, inside of my box here is my setup. So again, I have the power distribution, power distro boards. So again, these are Falcon. And then over here we have the smart differential receiver. is mounted on 350 volt power supply. Now what I do with my labeling is each of my boxes is color coded. So this purple means that I'm running my purple cable up to the Cope 40 in the garage and making sure that I'm plugging into port number 4 is what that means. And then I have everything color coordinated. So as you saw, I had my orange here, means that the orange is going to run over to my first arch. And then in between arches is going to have another red cable, and whatnot. So I measured these all out ahead of time and then put the tape on them for easy storing. So for next year, and when I was setting up, all I had to do was just match up the colors and could quickly grab the cables and go from there. Made it easy for having kids help out and everything. They could just hand me the cable, right color, and then get it plugged in and go from there. So this is what the inside of one of the boxes looks like. So again, the 4 actual data lines with power, and then over here is just the 8 extra power injection for prop spread throughout the yard. Try to make sure that everything is waterproofed. Fortunately, I've been good with water, haven't had any issues. This year there hasn't been a lot of snow, but this is the only place where I've got cords running over concrete. So I got these over here. So again, like I said, colored cables running to each of the different props and then going from there. Since I am running 5 volts, I do have to do a lot of power injection. So I have these T's right here. So these are 3x3 power injector T's. Got these from Wally's Lights. So the data is passing through from this side over to this side. So from the right to left, and then this bottom one here is where the power is coming in, just directly from that power distribution board. For me, I don't know why, but power injection was something that took me a while to figure out, since there's not a ton of videos, but pretty simple. Just run power distribution from that power distribution board, plug it in at the bottom, and then the data still just passes through on the top here. So technically there's a 3rd pin that's running here that is not used, but it's easier just to have, for me, all the 3-prong cords, 3-core wires, versus having to have a 2-core wire for just the power. But that's just me. So I know they make 3x3x2s, but again, I just did 3x3x3 because it was easier for me. All right, so just a couple of the other unique things, or things that are a little bit different. I know that people try to figure out how they can mount things. So for all of my windows and the garages, they are actually just magnetized. So these right here are just being held up by magnets. And the one down here pops off a little bit easier. So these are basically earth magnets. And then, as you can see, just the little EMT brackets around regular 1/2-inch PVC. Little PVC right here, the flat washer, which is magnetized over right here. Each of my window frames were just the 1/2-inch PVC with drill bits for the bullet pixels to go inside of them. Did all of these by hand, which took a little bit of time. I would recommend, if you're doing a lot of amounts of them, to definitely use a drill press, as that will help you out. As you can see, there's a couple that are maybe not the straightest. Did have my daughter helping out drill some of them, and it was always exciting. So we got data running in here. Again, we got a cactus over here. There we go up here. So we got the cactus, again, just magnetized on. And then just clicks up on the magnet. And then we're good to go. I do have an extra zip tie just in case, but have not had any need for that, as it's been magnetized up and holding up nice and sturdy. Got it magnetized, going up and around. For me, one of the biggest questions was, how in the world was I going to hang up the Rosa Grande, which was about 45 pounds, almost 50-ish pounds. So you can't see right now, but I have some EMT pipe on the back, which are the brackets. But just above that, I have 4 hooks that I drilled into the roof line there, and then just hung those chains, which then go back around the brackets and the EMT pipe that is in conduit, which is in the back there. It's a pain in the half to get up, but that's what we did it with, was with the EMT, chains, and hooks. So that was the one exception where something was drilled into the house. It's got more cords. Again, if you're anywhere where it's wet, which is pretty much anywhere this time of year, but definitely recommend getting some plugs on them. So we had some snow the other day, had a few inches, and so this was completely buried in the snow, but was perfectly fine because got the plugs on the back. So again, we got some more of the Casa plugs so I can power them on and off for my phone, make it convenient and good to go for getting the different receivers set up. So again, just again, another differential receiver. Inside it got the paper, got everything color coordinated for where those lines are running and where they are going. My sandbag here is just because I got one extra Cat 5 cable, which was a lot thicker than the others and coiled up, so just put it there to smooth it out a little bit. So here we got our P stakes. So again, just drilled these out by hand, and all I did, pretty simple, just have cut them in a basically 45-degree angle, or just at an angle so I could just hammer them into the ground. I got these pixels from Matto's Design. Made it easy for getting them spread out throughout the yard. So again, the 5 pixels, and then they run cord over to the other one. So that was the one unique, I guess, line of pixels that I got. Everything else I got from Wally's Lights, and they've been great. Over here, got some extra power going on. So these trees right here were actually, I don't know, my best buy of the season. These were on sale at Walmart for, I don't know, like 25 bucks or something at the end of last year. And so I bought them, and basically you just go in and you had to clip the power line or the negative voltage line, and tied that into the receiver over here, and then also clipped the data line and put a pigtail on it. And then now I just run this pigtail, which is running the data and the negative line, tying it in with the show over here, and then it keeps all of its power and everything else throughout these. So again, these came, like I said, from Walmart, so they're running their own power, but just tied in the negative voltage as well as the data voltage into it, and when they're up and running, they are pretty cool. Only thing was, these stars on top that came with them were actually not smart pixels. So I threw their star out and 3D printed this star right here, and then just pushed in the pixels and just ran it like any other prop. So again, 3D printed this guy instead of what actually came with the star itself. Over here we got our box, so you can control the show, push the button, have some fun. People walking by at night can click the button, get some music going on. Just got some cheap speakers off of Amazon that were waterproofed, so they wouldn't have any issues. And they've had snow on them, water on them, not any problem at all. So this was Steve's push button. Got it from, I think it was BF Light Shows, where I picked it up at. So this has been awesome. This has been great. You can adjust the length that it stays on, but again, pretty easy. So this one was nice because it was just plug and play. So just ran my audio cable, which is running from the sound blaster, which was inside the garage there. Ran it all the way over here for the audio as people are walking by. So this was this is being powered up just by, again, just power. So again, this is a 3-core like pigtail that is actually running here, but I only needed the 2, but that is what is powering it up. And then we've got the audio cable. So as you can see, we got a good handful of cables running through the yard here over back to the garage. So for the rest of the house, again, like I said, we got the Rosa Grande, which is mounted up there with the hooks. Then we got the 2 Gilbert Engineering Quartets on the left there, which those are just conduit EMT put together with some sandbags which are holding them up. We've had some pretty good winds this year and haven't even budged, so fortunately those have been holding it pretty well. I'll show you those in just a second. Got a couple of the snowflakes, also from Gilbert Engineering, up on the windows. I'll show you those as well. And then got all the extra power, other things running up there. To help people know what to do, they just tune in here. Got our high class fancy sign. I didn't do anything digital this year. I know some people have been doing digital stuff, but instead of a P5 panel or anything, just decided to make a nice easy sign. Have a little solar powered light that pops on in the middle that turns on once it gets dark. Yeah, just got a frame for the singing cactus. Just put it out of some PVC pipe. As you can see, maybe not the most sturdy, but we've got a rebar pipe that I put in the middle there for extra reinforcement. But same kind of concept as the windows, where we have the PVC as a spacer. And then we got some mounts from Gilbert Engineering, which had just some extras laying around. They are not made for the singing cactus, but again, just had them laying around, so used them. Then just an extra sandbag to hold everything down from the wind. On here I got more power injection going on, so I just have my main cord running here. And then, like I was saying before, just the 3x3 T's, which make it very easy for the power injecting. So every 150, running some power injection here, coming straight off of my box, which is over there. Each of those ammo cans got from Harbor Freight on their Black Friday in spring sale. So I want to say they're like $3, maybe $4. So they're nice and cheap, and built those versus buying the ones online, where you can buy some pre-built ones, which are pretty nice, but again, save some money. And got those myself, or did those myself. So that is the downstairs. Then we got our power running up to the top. Got some more window frames hanging around on the outside. Cable management doesn't look super pretty during the day, but I've got that going on. All right, now we are up here on the roof. Sorry, I had to change microphones. There's a bunch of kids yelling in the background, so change the audio here. But have our other receiver box here and the different color cables to help show us where the different props are going. Have our couple of Casa plugs up here, which again, you can control from your phone. Then right here, one thing that's different is I have permanent lights up on my roof line. They are actually Everlights, which were a little bit tricky to get up and running with my show. They are actually 4 cords or 4 lines versus the regular 3 lines, which most bullet pixels have. So I had to get those tied into the show. It took me a while to get that up and running. After a lot of trial and error, they have their own separate controller and power supply that they run off of most of the year. So here's the power supply and their separate controller. But again, I didn't have time to have them both simultaneously running for the show this year, so just unplugged all of that and put some pigtails on the end of them and got those up and running so that they were good to go. Fantastic lights, a little pricey, but definitely. Over here we have, again, same window setup, PVC washer, 1/2-inch PVC pipe with holes drilled throughout them. Not the prettiest cables up here on the roof, just kind of throw it all out, but holds up well and has done fine in the weather so far. Back to these Everlights here. Down here in the gutters where they actually sit on the bottom. So again, you can see them kind of hidden away, tucked in, protected from the weather. But at the same time, I mean, they've
held up perfectly fine when that gutter's been completely full of snow, full of water. They do just fine. Then over here on the other side of the roof, we got our stars that are hung up. Another power supply or power injection. Just have a little screw here, and the stars are tied up on a zip tie, and have a few of those. Again, they kind of blow in the wind, so it's my daughter's favorite when it's a little bit windy outside. Those are banging on our window all night. Fortunately, hasn't been super windy this year, too many nights, so been all right. Again, here's a closer look at the trim for those Everlights, which we have all over the roof line. And again, like I said, they've been good. Haven't done the pigtail here at the end. So these are the quartets. The 1/2-inch EMT conduit. Put these all together. I'll show you a close up here in just a second. But Maker T pipe connectors, which is how we kind of put that together. But have the frame, and then each of those are 50-pound sandbags, which are keeping it from moving anywhere when it is windy. To get the EMT onto the prop itself, 3D printed a couple of mounts. I found a design online and was able to print those out, and those have been very sturdy, been able to hold it up. Here's a closer look at those Maker T connectors. Just got a few of those, and those things are very tight. So this is a pretty sturdy mount, can hold that up. And like I said, we've had some pretty good winds this year in terms of speed wise, and hasn't budged. Been fine with that. And we got the cords running over to the other one, just running from the receiver box. Again, nothing too fancy up here, more so than what we have already seen on the rest of the house. And the last piece I want to show you is this is the wiring for the Rosa Grande. Again, a lot of wires running into that. I believe it's 3 ports that we have running into it, and then 6 or 7 power injections. So a lot of wire having to go into that. So it made it pretty tricky getting that up here on the roof, getting it mounted, and keeping all the cords. So have our last receiver box up here with the cords running out. A closer look at one of our stars that are just zip tied onto the house. So again, when the season's done, just clip those zip ties. Didn't have anything permanently fixed to the roof line or anything on the house, so pretty easy to get off. And another closer look at the Everlights trim. So again, that's the house. Hope that you enjoyed it. Sorry, I guess one more closer look here at the Everlights. And the 4 data, or the 4 cores, 4 wires going into 3. 2 data lines had to put into 1. But again, that's a little bit behind the scenes of our show. Hope that you enjoyed seeing it. If you have any questions, always feel free to send me a message, put a comment down here, and can hopefully get those answered for you. But definitely been a pleasure and a lot of learning this year.